I'm back! And I'm still not Jules. Yeah, sorry, I completely forgot that Jules was away for 2 weeks, so you've got me again. I'm Phil from WhatCulture. Hit the intro. So after losing to The Miz at SummerSlam, we cut backstage and we see Daniel Bryan. He's furious with himself for falling for The Miz's brass knuckle tricks, when really he probably should have been furious at his employer. Or should I put it, the company that uses him on an independent contractor basis, but doesn't actually let him work anywhere else. They stuck a medical chart directly behind Daniel Bryan's head that just mocked his brain injury. And this wasn't some cheap staging, they just stuck it to some boxes next to the word fragile. Because in WWE, I guess the best ribs are the cruelest ones. This was just callous and mean, and what's more, this is the company that we're expecting to finish a storyline where the nicest man in the world fights for his dreams. A former independent contractor may yet show the disastrous signs of CTE, but this sounds like a you problem! So what's next? Maybe we'll see Nia Jax back in catering in front of a bunch of empty plates. Maybe during Charlotte's next backstage segment we'll see a danger explosion risk sign right next to her boobs. At this point, if a WWE superstar is drawn into the Me Too movement and WWE doesn't show them backstage reading the Kama Sutra, then that's progress. Maybe Randy Orton will start shaking people's hands only for them to sniff it in disgust afterwards. Well, they've already done that at a house show last week, so... Somebody needs to have a word with Hulk Hogan because the guy is an imbecile. He was on the After Chat podcast and he was making his first public appearance since his widely rejected, if you're gonna call a black man the N-word, make sure you're not being recorded, lads, apology. On it, he said, "I just hope the Brotherhood can get back to the way it was. Outside the ring, you're supposed to protect your brother. In this case, it's a situation where 75, 80, 90% of the wrestlers are protecting me, and they're giving me another chance to move forward. There's just a few wrestlers that kinda don't understand the bond and the brotherhood of wrestling." What a dumbass. What an awful, awful dumbass. Without even considering the grim subtext that is 75, 80, 90% of the wrestlers, the white guys are okay with it, brother. Ugh, I should never ever do that. What is he talking about? What was he expecting? The New Day and Titus O'Neil likely do understand the brotherhood of pro wrestling. He vilified our people in the most grotesque manner imaginable, but he does what we did, so he's okay. Just say you're sorry. Acknowledge that you understand that people were upset at your actions and your lack of accountability for them, and shut up. It's that easy. Imagine trying to turn babyface after a racist tirade that you didn't really apologize for. That's what Hogan's doing. Unlike those other cowards who watch and wait backstage, presumably right next to a sideways TV, I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna cash in on a weakened opponent after watching the match live with my friends, the WWE Universe. That's essentially what Braun Strowman said at SummerSlam. Now, was this a babyface move? Or was this still cowardly tactics? Or at the very least, was it just unsportsmanlike? What separates Braun Strowman's tactics from every other heel who's had money in the bank? And then Braun didn't cash in anyway. The guy who flips over trucks with his bare hands got taken out by one finisher and a chair shot. And then Roman Reigns, our hero, took advantage of it in another total heel move. Raw's two top babyfaces were opportunistic on Sunday, while Kevin Owens and Baron Corbin were squashed like tiny bugs. SummerSlam, it was a very good show. It was really good, I very much enjoyed it. But is the curve for narrative logic that low? What basically happened is that by fading to black seconds after the match was over, WWE basically just poked you on the back and said, "Look over there," and then ran away in the other direction. All credit to them though, it bloody worked. Jonathan Coachman is an idiot. He just is. Even by his dreadful standards, he was on rare form over SummerSlam weekend. The guy is essentially Art Donovan, only considerably less endearing. All he does, constantly, is ask questions that threaten to unravel the predetermined enterprise. Why doesn't Finn Balor wrestle as the Demon all the time? Well, coach, he's short, so we don't want him to win all the time. Why is Ronda Rousey calling all her spots? Because she's still a bit green, you dumbass. Didn't Ember Moon hurt herself when she delivered a suplex to the outside? Probably, coach, but shut the hell up about it. At this rate, on next week's Raw, coach will probably ask why wrestling, with its very ugly history, hasn't been swept up into the Me Too movement yet. Coach has been involved in pro wrestling since 1999. That's 2 decades and he still doesn't get it. We've signed the most recognizable female combat athlete on the planet. Let's make her unrecognizable. What is WWE's makeup department doing exactly? I mean, I'm guessing they were just trying to accentuate that glare in her eyes that she has, the glare that drove her as a genuine sporting pioneer. But the problem is she didn't look like this in UFC. She looked like Ronda Rousey. And this isn't the first time WWE have done something like this. They've been doing it for years. Dusty Rhodes was no joke when he was gunning for Ric Flair, but when he was in the WWE, his belly was just that little bit too big and they just made him a polka dot punchline. Matt Morgan was an eloquent destroyer in OVW, but then when he was called up to WWE, they destroyed him with a stuttering gimmick. Vader was the proto-Brock Lesnar in WCW and in Japan, but in WWF he was, and this is their words not mine, a fat piece of shit. Sting was the heart of WCW, but in WWE he was buried for being the heart of WCW. And this is just what WWE do. If they sign Conor McGregor, they'll just have him try and get Sparkle Crotch over all over again. And that's it. I promise to you that Jules is back next week because I'm all in, bitches. I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to go to StarCast for 4 days and it's going to be bloody brilliant. If you haven't already seen it, just StarCast looks absolutely amazing. You can get it on Fight TV. There's like a Monday Night Wars debate with Eric Bischoff and Bruce Pritchard, the roast of Bruce Pritchard. There's karaoke sessions. Simon Miller is going to be doing karaoke. And the best one, Jim Johnston is going to be playing themes live on stage and talking about how he created them. Anyway, I am super excited about getting there. There's going to be loads of content over the coming weeks. We've got a bunch of interviews lined up. There's going to be Simon Miller doing karaoke. You're going to want to see that, and it's going to be brilliant. Anyway, I've been Phil from WhatCulture. Thanks again for having me, and I'll see you soon.